I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, people? How you doing? Okay. So we got like a celebrity on the show today. I'm just not gonna lie. It's like, he went to law school. He did a stint with the government or the politics. I mean, he did everything, and then he's a lawyer, and now he's an author. Okay, so I just say, hey, I want to welcome to the show, Mr. Collins. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I feel like I need them. So thank you again. Tell us about yourself, and more than what I just said. I think I gave it all away.
Oh, sure. No, you didn't give it all away. So I am Corey Collins, 53 years old. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. So I'm from the South, and claim the South, even though I've lived in Miami for, I don't know how many years now, probably going on 30. He moved here in 1992 to go to school. And so, and I don't really consider Miami's a different bird. It's not really the South to me. So I'm from Tennessee. I'm a Tennessee guy. So, but yeah, I've been here for about 30 years now. Came here to go to law school, and I've been here ever since. So I consider it my second home now.
I hear you. Miami. I moved away from Miami to Sarasota 12 years ago. And I really like it on the West Coast of Florida more than I like it in Miami. And I lived there for like over 20 years. And yeah, it can grow on you, but I think I wanted a little bit of a slower pace. Yeah. So Miami's really fast. It's kind of like a little bit slower than New York, but not by much.
Right. You're right about that.
Yeah,
especially these days with all the traffic and everything else. You're right.
Yes, sir. Definitely. There's a parking lot on I-95. Yes, there is, darling. You're not going anywhere for a little while.
Exactly.
Wow. So, okay. So you moved to Miami to actually be, to go to school, to become a lawyer from Tennessee. So what was that like? And you said that you don't consider Miami the South, but it really truly is. It's just
it is
different.
It is very different. It's more international than the traditional South, right? And that you got folks from everywhere here. And so, but it is very different and much faster pace, as you said. So it definitely took some getting used to when I first moved here. It's crazy to think that, it's been 30 years, but I'll say, when I first moved here, this was August of 92, to go to law school, I was welcomed to the city by my first Hurricane Andrew, Category 5. So instead of going to class, I was evacuating the city. So somebody said to my mom, I think, said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" But somewhere I stuck it out, and here I am so many years later. But it's been a transition that has been fun to make. I've a lot of new friends here, family here now, as well. So it's one of those things. It took some getting used to. If you grew up in a situation where, you have true season changes, like in the fall, it gets cold, in the winter, it gets cold, is an adjustment, right? In terms of this is just, it's just going to be, warm all year round. But
almost
maybe a handful of days, you get a little bit in the 50s, but other than that, kind of, pretty steady. But it's good adjustment to make. I feel like it's home now, despite the fact that they, I've never gotten over the fact that they hang Christmas lights on palm trees. That to me is still a little strange, but it is what it is. And so, but no, I've enjoyed living here, and professionally and personally, it's been great for me. And a great place for my family to come visit too. So
definitely. I'm sure they love to get away.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny. And I know you were talking about the climate. It's so funny because I live directly across from West Palm Beach on the same line. Okay. Mm-hmm. And our weather over here is totally different than the East Coast. So we get frost warnings. We have black ice over here.
Wow.
And I know that we get hail and flurries.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's a lot different, the climate. And we're only right across the states, just straight across. It's ridiculous. It's different.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you how big of a state Florida is, to be able to have that difference in weather from one, this down in the southern part of the state up until kind of the middle to the western part of the state. And then those people in the panhandle, they definitely get,
they definitely get it. Yeah. So we're right off of 80. So 80 goes straight across, and we're on that same line. So that line right there in West Palm Beach, they get the same, pretty much the same weather as you. But if you come straight across, you're gonna get 20-degree weather.
Wow.
Frost. Frost warnings, like the light on your car will show up. Like, careful for black ice. It's like, what? Didn't I live in Central Florida a minute ago?
I know. Just driving on the other side of the state. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's crazy. So, okay, so you went to Miami and you stayed in Miami. You're still in Miami. So, and now, not only are you a lawyer, but you're an author.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How did that happen?
Yeah, well, as you can probably imagine, the practice of law is, can be, very stressful.
I know.
You can imagine. I started my practice litigating, and then, I started reviewing contracts similar to, kind of what you did. And so it's like, and the pressures to negotiate and all this stuff. So I started writing really as kind of an outlet, a stress reliever, right? To kind of, channel my energy somewhere else that was fulfilling for me. So I started that maybe in the mid 2000s. I started writing, and just started out as little short stories here and there, and over the course of the years they accumulated into it's like 23 stories now that I've decided to compile into a book. And I did that, and then I also wrote a novel that I published before this in 2017 called The Thanks You Get. But all of that was, as a way for me to, just really have some kind of creative outlet that was a way to de-stress from the job, really. And so I just kept doing it over and over the years. I write and I also run too. So that, you got to find some ways to kind of, balance it out. Otherwise, it can be a lot. As you suggested in your early comments, it could be a lot. So that's how it came about for me. And I just kind of stuck with it. And so and this
is kind of cool.
The product of that, right? Over the years, compiling all these stories about all these different things, right? The inspiration came from wherever, from family, from friends, from what's in the headlines, whatever it was, right? And so just decided to write some stories around some different topics that, that I came across, just in living life, really. So.
So it's true.
Well, not inspired by true. Some of them are inspired by true. It's all fiction.
Okay, gotcha.
But some of the stories are inspired by events that may have happened in the news. I got a couple stories that were inspired by, the George Floyd incident, the Trayvon Martin years ago, right? All fictional stories, but inspired by stuff that's really happened. My George Floyd story is, these are, it surrounds, it's centers on some kids and really in middle school. And how kids fight over different things. Growing up, you did this to me. I'm gonna beat you after school, and we don't,
2:00.
And exactly. and in the and in the midst of that, just the story is, the kids everybody has a smartphone these days. So, somebody gets an alert that George Floyd happened. What impact does that have on them? They're like, wait a minute. We out here doing all this stuff. This guy just got killed over, nothing really. And, and then it just, the impact that has on them, that's one story. And then, some other stories, Trayvon Martin, similar incidents with, folks thinking that certain individuals are going to be up to no good, while other individuals who really are up to no good get unnoticed, stuff like that. And then, and then just other stories, the other lighthearted stories, inspired by family events like, dinners, family reunions. Someone makes a comment that makes somebody just, double over, just laughing, right? And I just kind of remember some of that stuff, right? And wrote stories around it. So it's just a different, just a collection of stories over the years, inspired by stuff that's either in the news or, that happened in the family, or, just things that happened in law school, whatever, right? So, but yeah, after a while, I accumulated so many, I said, well, I got all these stories, I need to do something with them. So I put them all together and published the book. So
Wow.
that's how it came about.
Wow. It sounds like you're very passionate about what's going on, that you would write a story that coincides, kind of a parallel to what really happened.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I do get inspired by that, and it's, some of the events that happen, it impact you in such a way that they stick with you. And so,
Right.
again, the de-stress or creative outlet from the job, but then also as a way to channel some feelings that I've got about certain things, into something that's positive, right?
Yeah.
And so, that's another, kind of way that I've used my writing, to just kind of, deal with certain things that have happened over the years, especially when it comes to marginalized communities, which is kind of the focus. That's the through line throughout all the collection of the stories. It's really centered on, people of color and marginalized communities, things that have happened over the course of the years that really, when you look at them, are pretty kind of devastating, and kind of some of them are pretty, horrific things, but somehow, some way, the communities, are managed to, stay positive, or are very resilient, right? And can kind
Mhm.
of keep moving forward despite, what, some objectively looking at the situation would say, well, good gosh, how can that happen? And they're still smiling, they're still laughing, they're, still trying to, move forward and look up, right? And it's, just kind of taking those stories, not denying the reality of them, but then also looking at them and saying, well, look, this is something that happened. The old saying, turning lemonade out of lemons, or whatever it is, right? Just
Right.
kind of, looking at it from that perspective. And oftentimes, to be able to do that, it takes strong faith. It takes, pulling together from other people. It takes people helping to lift you up when you don't think you can go any further, that kind of stuff. So, so a lot of that's, written through the book. And again, I try to do, it's a collection of stories. So some of them, are pretty heavy stories. Other stories are pretty light stories, right? It's a combination of different things.
Right.
It's serious stuff. It's funny stuff. So, I'm hoping that, anybody who picks up the book can find something that, that they like, something that appeals to them, right? And some or all of the stories.
Gotcha.
So,
I
yeah.
gotcha. Gotcha. Being a lawyer and then writing this book and seeing the outcome of all the things that you've paralleled your book by, how does that make you? I mean, how does that, how would I say this? Not make you feel, but more like make you make a justification on how you are writing this and why.
Well, I think it really is, driven by, really kind of my kind of upbringing and my ethos, but just the things that my parents, kind of instilled in me. Because yeah, I've been practicing for a number of years, going on 27 years or whatever it is, and by I guess some people's estimation, there's a level of success there, but I've never kind of lost sight of, just kind of, I mean, my humble beginnings,
Right.
and the fact that a lot of people are still going through it no matter what, right? And so, if there's a way to kind of, touch on kind of some of the things that are the realities that people are facing, right? And doing it in such a way that, provides some level of, of not only entertainment, but, some kind of, inspiration or positive kind of spin on something, then I want to try. That's what I want to do, because that's what my parents always encouraged me to do. Even
Right.
though we didn't have much when we were growing up, they were always like, look, you still need to go out there and get your lesson, and you still need to do some stuff that is interesting. I still want you to participate in this or that or whatever else. And those are the things that I did, guided by not only my parents, but good mentors along the way, encouraging you to make the right choices. Because sometimes, you get presented with situations where you could potentially send you down a different path,
Yeah.
right? And so, it's just kind of, help having people in your life that help you level set and say, well, hey, if you channel your energies this way instead of that way, then perhaps, you'll be in a situation that's, that's going to be better than the one you found yourself in, many, many years ago. Because that's what, everybody's trying to do, right? Making sure each generation kind of improves from the past, from the last generation, and everybody keeps moving up. So,
Yeah.
But that's where it kind of comes from me. I mean, it's the family first and foremost kind of guiding me towards, trying to, make good choices and continuing to reach for things that, at a certain point in time you wouldn't even think that were attainable, right? So it's kind of taking some of those life lessons from my own life, and hopefully kind of through some of the stories, because I have a story about a kid who humble beginnings again, not a whole lot of money, mother struggling, single mother, presented with a way to make some quick cash, and and it's not the best way, it's not going down a certain path, but he has somebody in his life, a teacher, a principal, who basically says, hey, maybe there's another way, and he's kind of faced with that, the torn between kind of what his peers are saying he should be doing, and then this adult who really has his best interests at heart saying, hey, why don't you just consider a different way, and just seeing what choice he makes. The story is called The Fork, like the fork in the road, right?
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so that kind of stuff.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we can expect many more books from you.
Yeah, probably, because again, I just like to, maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see if
I doubt you can stay away.
Yeah, it's one of the things that, again, I like, it's a great outlet for me, to be able to kind of get some stuff off my chest from time to time, to de-stress, all of that. And I tell you, a lot of times I'm writing some stuff down. I go back and look at it. It is not good. I think I'm just being honest, right? Because you write so much, you're like, okay, what was I? No. But I like just to continue to write, because every once in a while, you'll come up with something that's really good. And it's also always good to have somebody who you can kind of bounce things off of, take a look at it, and tell me what you really think. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what you really think. You know what I mean? So
yes.
And those are good reality checks too. After you've written something, you think, oh my God, this is good. No, the person was like, wait a minute, what is So, it's good to have those people in your life too, right?
Definitely. So, those people that tell you, yeah, no.
Exactly. Right. So
yeah, no.
So anyway, so I've been down that road. So, but to answer the question, yes, I continue to write just because I like it, and then whatever comes of it comes of it. But sometimes you get enough kind of good feedback on things, and it turns into something that you want to kind of show the world. So we'll see. We'll keep writing and see what happens with it. Writing and practicing law, right? We're doing both at the same time. It's crazy.
There you go. So. There you go. Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Collins, for being on the show. I appreciate it. Your your genuineness and your parallelism for the book and the real life thing. That's really cool, because I think that most people don't realize that they can write a parallel to what reality is really happening, and have their own ending. You know what I mean? It would be nice to say that everything that has happened negative was really not negative at all, but in a way it wasn't. But I can't say that we didn't lose something along the way that we really miss. And I'm glad to have you as someone out there that's, representing and being truthful about it. And also writing to get your frustrations out, and to get that stress level down. And we really truly need more of that. More of that. Just more. Because we all need that. We all need to get our stress levels down. Definitely.
We do. Get the stress level down in some kind of positive way, that, we'll channel it in some place that's productive, or, is always helpful. So, whatever that may be, right? It's writing for me. It's for other people, it's other things. It's writing and running for me and writing for me. But whatever it is for you, or whoever's listening, right, is one of the things that you got to do, because this life can be crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And it can be stressful.
Oh, yeah.
So, finding some way to kind of, channel that, that energy into something that's productive is always going to be, always going to be a good thing, and help and help you too, right? Health wise and everything else. So, because things are happening to you, you can't deny that it's happening. You just kind of have to figure out what to do with it, and hopefully, it'll kind of, you'll find a way to channel it in a way that's that's meaningful, that's productive, and that de-stresses you, and allows you to see that, while there's a lot of bad things happening in the world, negativity, there's also the other side of that too, right?
Right.
And so, some of the stories that I've written really try to kind of, deal with that aspect of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, these things are happening or whatever. I'm not denying the reality of them, but, I also want to try and at least, keep the forefront the notion that, at the end of the day, that there's always, reason to hope. And
Yes.
so yeah.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, Mr. Collins, thank you so much. Where can people find your books?
It's for sale, I think, on Barnes and Noble, on Amazon, and at Dorrance Publishing, a publisher.
Awesome. Well, we're going to put at least the Amazon link in the description box below so people can go check that out for themselves. And we await the next book. Just saying. Just saying, we await the next stress relieving book. Okay. Hello. We have had some more instances, even in the last couple of days. It's been really bad. And I hope that I hope that we can figure out a way to make it better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Definitely. Definitely.
Definitely. Well, thank you again so much for being on the show. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, guys, bye.
Thanks, Yaya. Take care.
I did to